I love how the age of the internet, digital painting, and connectivity gives us the chance to look back at the journey of amazing artists. In the art history, we look at probably the final artworks and not enough process. We do have some documentation of some of those, but the digital artists, especially those that grew up and learned through the age of the internet, we can see a lot of their work posted on blogs, posted on forums. Some of those forums are already like dying or being taken down from the internet. So it's interesting to document a little bit of that. And that's what I want to do here today. I want to look at 5 amazing artists that I've been following for over a decade and some of their early work. I did this exercise for Mike Azevedo, as you see here on your screen, and we're going to start with him. But I'm going to also look at Jana Schirmer, Evan Melaminson, Algenpfleger, or Johannes Voss, as well as Jonathan Hardesty. Hardesty will be the last one, but not the least. It's just a different take because it's more on the fine art side than the other ones that went into concept art and illustration. So starting with Mike is nowadays the founder and art director, creative director for Mars Studio. His work is just great. His color work, he has taken down some of the images here from ArtStation, but you can see a lot of his work, a little more experimental work, such as this one, as well as you can have a look at Mars Studio, where he's the art director, and really learn from the amazing work that they are doing. All links are going to be in the description. But it's interesting to go, and he has a blog as well that you can find all the way back to the earliest work. But DeviantArt is really great for that. So if we look at the all section of the gallery, but most especially the scraps, we're going to get there, we can see a lot of the older work or just work in progress, as well as things that the artists don't want to show up that much. So we can scroll back and we can see up here some great work that he did back in 2015. So we're going to have a window to see in there. It's mostly from 2007 to 2015-16, and earlier work you can find on their website and so on. But definitely, if we go and start scrolling down more, we start to see a change in some of the work. Simplified, different confidence in terms of brush strokes and all of that, a lot of experimentation. So it's really great to see. But if we keep going further and further, we'll get to the early days and a lot of experimentations. I love this one. He did a study of a turtle photograph and then apply this. I'm going to talk about this kind of application in another video, but it's great to see that it really worked out for him. We don't have the study here, but we do have the application. This is some of the first works that really started gaining some traction for him and winning awards and being spread out all over the internet. But you can see the amount of evolution that from 2012 he had over to this day. And you can start seeing a lot of work that can look like your current work. So the important message here is to keep going, keep doing. I've heard from the Art and Fear book on an interesting source, and there's a discussion from Proco and Marshall Van Droof on the topic. There is a passage from the book that compares 2 groups of students that were asked and would be graded on the amount of work they did, so quantity versus the perfect work and the quality of their work. So the first group, the quantity would be on weight. So they would weigh the amount of vases they were doing, like pottery and all of that. And the best work came from the quantity group. And all of the artists here that we're seeing today did a lot of work, a lot of work. We're talking about thousands of drawings and paintings. So focus on quantity. Don't focus too much on your current state and the gap between your taste. There is also an amazing video by Ira Glass on the topic of taste and the difference between where you are right now and what you like and the quality that you already are setting the bar for yourself. So don't mind that gap. Focus on doing more, learning new things, questioning yourself, but keep continuing doing that. Probably it will take years, but you get to a point in the evolution that a lot of these artists had. So it's interesting to see this kind of more photograph kind of studies from him from back in the day, and even the early dragons. I love, if you look at his current work, it's super nice to really compare. The second artist we're going to look at is Jana Schirmer. She's currently a senior VizDev illustrator at Marvel Studios. Her work is amazing. I think one of the biggest things she did over the years were her portrait digital paintings of coworkers, friends, and so on. That really blew up. It's really interesting to see her on her Instagram, that you can see some of the time lapses she did on Procreate and iPad and so on. I love this illustration. You can also see a time lapse for this. So under drawing and her confidence in terms of drawing and all of that. So really good to go through this and learn from her. Also her ArtStation, it's a little outdated, but you can see some of her most famous work. I think this is one of her a fan art for Overwatch, one of most famous pieces from her. But if we go back to DeviantArt once again, we can see some of the featured work is what we're already seeing on ArtStation, DeviantArt, some card illustrations, card game illustrations. This is probably one of those, or at least a study. It's Legend of the Cryptids here. So a lot of people worked on this card game back then. A lot of these artists that we're talking about did some work for that as well. So really great work to see here as well. So definitely take your time to go through that. Oh, it's not loading. But if we go down, once again, we start to see some of her older work, some sketchbook pages. I love this one. So you can see great work, great explorations. It reminds me a little bit of Wesley Burt's. We discussed that in my video about figure drawing. So if you continue going down, you start to see some older work. So you can really see the difference from 2008, going all the way to her current work and her current portraits and confidence she has, control of values, control of colors. Some still life studies, such as this one, as well as this other one, understanding light and gaining over time that control that we're talking about. But on her case, it's great if we go up here and look at the scraps. So you have like 250 paintings that are not on the featured or all. So you can really go back in time to the earliest drawings from her. And this is where it gets really interesting. You start to see a lot of difference, a lot of more anime kind of direction, earlier sketchbook pages. So really great to see that as well. Not that great control of anatomy and stylization as well. So super, super interesting to go back and you can start seeing some very, very interesting evolution along the way. So yeah, this is 2005. It's great that this goes really, really way back to the earliest of drawings. She had great drawings in this kind of more anime style that really she continues to do a bit to this day from what I remember from her work. But when it gets to more realistic anatomy and so on, you can really see the huge gap between where she was and where she is today, like almost 15 to 20 years later. Yeah, it's getting to almost 20 years. It's crazy. But it's great to see this kind of work. So definitely take your time. There are some evolution process pieces. So they were, and a lot of the people that we're talking here went to the same forums, so conceptart.org or CGIM forums, and really started a community. Nowadays, it's harder to find that, but you can definitely find some interesting Discord pages. A lot of YouTube channels have Discord pages We still don't, but maybe someday. But you can definitely find other great resources out there to really find some people that are willing to put on the work to really get there. Some process for her portraits as well. So this is amazing to see, but you can also see, as we mentioned, on her Instagram, you can see the process videos as well. So the next is Evan Melaminson. I've talked about him in multiple videos here as well. Great artist, great content, great educator. His Domestica is one of the best tutorials on character design out there, so definitely take a look. His book Decade is out again on print, so definitely check that out. It's a little bit of what we're talking here, but this last decade we're gonna go almost 20 years in the past in his DeviantArt and take a look at way older work, but a lot of great things here as well. You can see Magic, Assassin's Creed, and so on. A lot of the work he did for League of Legends, Blizzard, and so on. So really great. Definitely take your time to take a look. His Instagram, also a lot of process videos. He has a YouTube as well. The link is going to be in the description. So take your time, learn from him. But today we're going to look at older work. As I said, he doesn't have a lot here on DeviantArt. You can only go so far. It's interesting to see that you can already notice some of the evolution, but he was already good back in 2009. The control of values, control of colors is completely different. This is very dated, but he understands perspective, he understands atmospheric perspective, values, and a lot of that. So he was getting there at this point. But if you look at some of the older work from the scraps area, up here, you can definitely see that, yeah, he really grew. So stuff like this. It's interesting to see that his line work was more confident, but digital painting was really, really rough. So he definitely grew a lot during this period. Early explorations, 2007. So doing a lot of this. This is great. Looking at his work today, it's such an inspiration to see this. He was, as I said, more confident with drawing, but getting there step by step. And if we go to the front page, it's crazy. It's crazy to see the difference in everything: design, control, silhouette, all of that, anatomy. Everything is super great. So definitely get inspired by his journey. This is 2018 versus 2007 that we're seeing. So it's a decade of work, 11 years of work. Definitely take your time. I was studying almost at the same time. So I started 2009. So it's a little even sad to see the amount of work these guys put out, and they went all to have great careers and all. So it's interesting to see and to experience this looking back now. The next one, as I said, is Johannes Voss. So really great work as well, both environments as well as characters. A lot of different explorations. I love to see that he's using a lot of flat colors as well as going full render, depending on the type of client that he is doing the artwork for, or himself. So a lot of exploration. So this is like Magic the Gathering. So interesting to see some different types of artwork. I don't know if this was published on a card, but interesting to see the variation. You can also see some of the older work here, as he has a lot of stuff on ArtStation, but definitely DeviantArt. We're going to see a lot more of that. So jumping right in, you can also see the featured. So even in the all area, you have like 355 posts. So a lot to see in here. You can go all the way down and really find some of the work that we saw on ArtStation already. This one, I don't think it was this one. but we saw an airplane in there. So yeah, some airplane explorations, but early on. So you can definitely go really back in time, and this is great. It's crazy to see the difference, and kudos to all of those people that really stay there practicing, evolving, and getting better and better. So this is 2007, and some of the earlier work from ArtStation we're talking about 2022 or something like that. 2023 in this case, posted three weeks ago. So definitely interesting to see the amount of work that came. This one is great, just amazing to see the difference if you go back and look at some of the fairies that he did after that, and even like some Magic the Gathering cards from nowadays. It's super interesting to see the difference. So yeah, take your time, go through his work as well. His Instagram also in the description below. And last but not least, as I said, Jonathan Hardesty. Let's just look at his current work. So more of a traditional painter, fine artist. So interesting to see a lot of the control for drawing, a lot of control for values, colors, and so on. He teaches on schoolism, essentials of realism. So really interesting to see that. And he also has a course on materials that we talked about in my video on materials, colors, and so on. So really interesting to see some of this as well. He also has an Instagram account and has been posting there. So follow him there. But this video, and I'm going to end with this, it's really great. It's 9 years of his evolution. I've seen this before. He used to post on conceptart.org, but unfortunately the forum is not there anymore. But you can definitely, it's 17 minutes long. I'm not gonna go through all of this here today, but you can definitely see the great efforts being done here. Really, really early work. So if you look at some of the studies here, the control of light values and so on, it's so amateur, so childish. It's interesting to see this cat. He paints that digitally, so it's even funny that it's really, really rough beginnings, but there are thousands of artworks here. He pushed forward. I'm laughing here mostly because of the difference between what it was and what it is right now. But everyone has been to this phase. Everyone has struggled. Everyone has looked at this and felt like it's not for me or something like that. But one thing that I definitely see in all 5 people in here is that in their mind, there wasn't like a big option or obstacle. They were gonna do that. They can correct me if I'm wrong, if some of them get to see this video someday, but they definitely wanted so hard to make that happen. And they stood there, they found friends to share and grow. And that's super interesting. The mindset behind learning and growing instead of comparing. And this is great for that forum age because they were focusing on posting in there, and there was a little bit of a comparison, but more on a friendly competition, positive competition. Nowadays, we're super overwhelmed with Instagram. That's why I highly recommend searching for a Discord channel or even a forum, if there is such a thing out there. I think Drawbox has a little bit of a forum in there. So really getting away a bit from all the overload of information and focusing on getting work done more than comparing what you need, what's the difference, what's the gap between what you have and where you need to be, and doing more and getting better. What's the difference from your last piece to the piece you're doing right now, and growing 1%, 0.5% every time. even with practice, you will be getting better and better over time. Try not to do the same thing, so variations, learning from photos and applying, and all of that, it will go definitely a long way. I'll skip ahead, and you can start seeing a lot more confidence in drawing, but still very early on, not a big understanding of anatomy, and doing a lot of work from imagination. So this is one of the things that we saw from the last four, that they focused a lot on working from imagination, and that's super hard. I think Jonathan at some point went into more of a atelier kind of direction, and his work started getting way better in that direction. So he switched to that fine art route. But you can see nowadays that he's tackling more of the imaginative work. You can see that his drawing from observation is getting way better. He was still doing a lot of exercise, so you can see a little bit of Bridgman in there. And his copies, if we look at my mistakes video on figure drawing, definitely you can see a little bit of a correlation. When he copies, he's way better than when he's doing studies. So he's growing both, trying to grow both at the same time. So really interesting to see the evolution here. Take your time, go through that. You can see observation is getting way better. So a lot of great studies here. A lot of Bridgman, but way better. Some stuff from imagination, and I definitely don't know how many works are in here, but probably in the thousands. So really great to see the evolution. This is great. Some Barg work, studying from casts, studying from life, and getting better and better. Some self-portraits in there. So a lot of great work. The link is going to be in the description. I hope this stays up. It's been there for, I think, 12 years, so probably it will be there. If it's not, someone should upload on YouTube at some point. Really great evolution in still lives, a lot of explorations and getting better. Some photographs in there of studies, of studio and so on. So yeah, this is great. So I hope this was inspiring. I'll let it roll. Focus on quantity instead of quality for now, and you definitely will get a lot of the growth through time. Trust on the process. Keep trying to find mistakes and evolve, but definitely focus on doing more. Do it. Like, just draw, as if you've seen the video from FZD, Just Draw, it's a great one as well. So definitely check that out. So a lot of studies going back to perspective, and it's going to be a back and forth from fundamentals and applying and so on. So I definitely hope this was inspiring. You enjoyed the video. Go do some work. Have a great day and take care.